So I've seen a lot of discussions online about whether you should use Neovim or stick to VSCode and just use the Vim extension. A lot of people argue that using Neovim won't necessarily make you more productive and don't really understand why someone would go through all the hassle of configuring it when you can just stick to a modern IDE like VSCode and use the Vim extension there. The way I learned Vim was with the Vim extension inside of VSCode as well, but over time I ended up fully embracing Neovim. In this video I want to share why I personally prefer Neovim over VS Code and why, for me at least, it has helped me become a more productive programmer. Now, I still don't believe that this is the right way for everyone, and there are very good reasons why someone would not want to use Neovim, so stick around until the end where we'll go into those. Now, just to be clear, I want to focus on Neovim as an editor here, and we're not going to talk about Vim motions. I think we can all agree that Vim motions, once you learn them, are absolute game changers, and they definitely do make you more productive. At least I've never heard of anyone learn them and be like, you know what, this was a complete waste of time. Now, with that out of the way, let's dive into why I prefer Neovim over Vim emulation in a modern IDE. Now, my first reason doesn't actually have anything to do with Neovim itself. People rarely use Neovim on its own. It is usually combined with other tools like Tmux, Ranger, FZF, and other CLI tools. And I believe that it is in combining these tools where a lot of productivity gains are made. Let me give you a brief demo of what I mean. So now I'm in my terminal, and more specifically, I'm in a Tmux session. You can see this because of this bottom bar here, which tells me that I'm in a session called default, which has one window called ZSH. Now let's say I'm working on a Python project. What I would do is create a new Tmux session with prefix :new. Now I'm in a session called 15. I would rename this session with prefix $, and I would rename it to predict dummy, because this is the name of the hypothetical project here. Now, to go into the project directory, I can open Ranger and search for the Git directory where all my projects live. I go into that directory, and here I search for the word dummy. This is the directory of the project, predict dummy. I go into it, exit out of Ranger, and now I'm inside of the project directory. Here, let me open Neovim to show you what this project is all about. So as you can see from the file tree, it's an extremely simple project. Since I'm a machine learning engineer, this is kind of related to machine learning. We have here this inference module that contains a single class called random model. And then this object has one method called predict. And when this is called, a random number is returned. Then inside of the main.py file, which I can open now with Telescope, there is the endpoint. And this endpoint has a single route, predict, that also takes an item ID, and then we make a prediction for that item ID and return the prediction and the item ID together. Now, what I like to do in real-world projects is run the endpoint locally in a Docker container. I find that a very clean way to do this is using a new Tmux window. I can create a new Tmux window using prefix C. Now you can see that I'm in a new window. Let's actually rename this window to Docker. And also let's switch back to the first window, and instead of Python, I want to rename this to nvim. So I have nvim at 1 and Docker at 2. Now I can use a different tool called FZF to search through my command history. And here I search for the latest Docker build command that I used. Let's run this to create the Docker image. And now let me search for the last Docker run command to actually run the Docker container. Now the endpoint is running here in this window, and maybe I want to keep an eye on the logs while I interact with it. So what I could do is split this window and create another Tmux pane on the right hand side here, and then I could send, let's say, a curl command to this endpoint. And as you can see, I get a prediction for this specific item ID that I just called, and now I have the logs on the left hand side. Now maybe I want to quickly pull some item IDs from some database or an S3 bucket or whatever, and a good way to do this would be with a Jupyter Notebook. So for this I can just create another Tmux window. Let's rename this to Jupyter, and here I could start my Jupyter Lab server. So now I'm in Jupyter Lab. I could quickly create a notebook and run some code interactively here. Let's go back to the terminal. Let's go back to Neovim. I might make some edits here, whatever, add a few lines. And now let's say I want to commit those changes. So I can quickly, inside of Neovim, run lazy git, select those files, stage them, write a commit message, some changes, close this again, and this is a really nice workflow in my opinion. I could keep my hands on the keyboard the whole time, and everything was really nicely integrated and worked really well together. Now let's say an urgent ad hoc request comes in and I quickly need to jump to a different project and make some changes there. So what I can do, since I'm using Tmux, maybe I was working on that project before, I can quickly pull up my sessions, go to that project. Here I have the code, I can make some changes. I'm already in Neovim here. I could, using lazy git, just commit it, push it, and then using prefix L, jump back to my previous project. I can just prefix L to jump back and forth between these different projects. So overall, I find that using tools like these in combination creates this really nice, scalable and efficient workflow that I just haven't been able to recreate in a normal IDE. Another huge benefit is that my hands can stay glued to the keyboard this whole time. This has two advantages. The first one is that a keyboard-centric workflow actually does make you faster. There's a reason why pro gamers rely on keyboard shortcuts and not use the mouse and click on everything the whole time. I remember years ago I used to play Warcraft 3. This was one of the first games I bought for myself. In case you don't know it, it's basically a strategy game where you build your base and troops and then attack the enemy. So I was playing this game and over time I became quite good at beating the computer consistently. So I started playing online. And in all of the battles I used to play online, I got completely destroyed. And the reason for this is because I never bothered to learn the keyboard shortcuts. I relied completely on the mouse to build everything, and this just put me at a huge disadvantage. Everyone else was just building way faster and they were already attacking me before I even had my first troops. Long story short, learning keyboard shortcuts definitely makes you faster. Is this absolutely critical for your day job? Well, I don't necessarily think that speed is everything when it comes to programming. You can be an amazing programmer and not use any shortcuts, and you can be a terrible programmer and produce terrible code at an extremely fast rate. However, I'm the type of person who simply enjoys learning his tools. I might be doing this work for the next 30 years, so I want to make sure that I do it as effectively as I can. I think this is a bit like a lumberjack sharpening his axe. Of course you can cut a tree with a dull axe, it just takes more effort. But personally I believe it's worth spending some time sharpening the axe first. The second big advantage of a keyboard-centric workflow comes down to ergonomics. I've been struggling with carpal tunnel for quite some time, and the change that had the biggest improvement for me was change the habits of how I control the computer. And I just wasn't able to create a fully keyboard-centric workflow inside of VSCode despite using the Vim extension. There were always things that couldn't be done with keyboard shortcuts, and I had to switch back to using the mouse quite a lot. And for me at least, this switching back and forth between the keyboard and the mouse was creating a lot of unnatural movements that were causing pain over time. The type of shortcuts you have in Neovim also tend to be more ergonomic because they are based on the leader key usually. For example, if I want to open and close this file tree, I can type space E, space is my leader key, and then space E again to open it back up. And pressing space followed by another key is really convenient because of the location of the space bar, and you don't really need to get your fingers in any weird or uncomfortable positions. Now you can technically recreate this in VSCode Vim as well, but with a lot of shortcuts you need to be very careful not to create any conflicts with existing shortcuts that are already in VSCode. On Mac this is not such a big problem because most shortcuts in VSCode are based around the command key, which is a key that is not used in Vim. But if you're on Windows, a lot of shortcuts in VSCode rely on the control key, and there are a lot of shortcuts in Vim that are based on control as well. Also, we should consider that configuring Vim inside of VSCode can also be quite a lot of work. Let me just show you my config that I used for VSCode Vim. So here, for example, you have my settings JSON, which is also quite a big file. It has a total of 239 lines, and then also I have the keybinds JSON file, and this one has another 187 lines. So it's by no means a straightforward and super simple configuration if you want to have similar navigation abilities that you have in Neovim. On top of that, VSCode is also extensible, and you will probably use a lot of plugins as well. And in my case, this is a script that I use to set up the plugins, and I have around 15 plugins as well. So while this is definitely less plugins than I have for my Neovim configuration, there's definitely some amount of configuration that needs to be done with VSCode as well. Now that we are already here, this is my .files repo actually. In case you don't know what a .files repo is, this is basically a repository for all your configuration files. So for example, I have here my Neovim configuration, I have Obsidian here, my Starship configuration, my Tmax configuration, and so on. And this is something I never even thought about creating before having a Neovim config. But once I had a Neovim config, I wanted to have a way to back it up and create a repo for it so I can use it on different machines as well. And then I thought maybe it's also a good idea to back up some of the other configurations that I have, like for my terminal, for my prompt, for ZSH, and some other tools, to have everything in this one repo. And I find that this is super powerful because with this repo, I can simply recreate my entire development environment on a different machine in a very short amount of time. For example, if tomorrow my work laptop dies for some reason and they need to give me a new one, I can literally get it back exactly how it was in less than 5 minutes, because all I need to do is run this simple install script here, and this will install all my software, it will take care of all the system configuration, and of course it will also create my Neovim configuration again. So extremely powerful, and I would have never done this without Neovim. And this brings me to my next point, why I prefer Neovim over Vim inside of VS Code. And that is, I like to learn new things in general, especially if they're related to my work. So as you probably know, Neovim comes quite bare bones, and you need to set up and configure everything from scratch pretty much. And this exposes you to a lot of things that you might have taken for granted in normal IDEs. For example, before Neovim, I didn't even know what an LSP was. I just completely took it for granted that you could jump to a definition, that you get auto-completions, and all of these nice things that LSP provides. And I didn't even appreciate how much of a complex problem this actually is to solve. It is also a very nice opportunity to come up with ideas for personal projects. For example, this entire .files repo is based around shell scripts that I created. And while I was creating it, I learned a lot about shell scripting, how it works, and many more things. Another example would be the CPU and memory usage monitor that you see in the lower right of my Tmax bar. This is a small plugin that I created myself because I wasn't super happy with the solutions that were out there, and I wanted to see this information in my Tmax bar. While working with Neovim and all these CLI tools, a lot of people come across specific problems or they want to further enhance their workflow, and then they start developing new Neovim plugins or CLI tools, and sometimes it's just a nice learning experience, and other times they also become quite successful. In any case, it's a good opportunity to learn and expand your skill set. The next reason I prefer to use Neovim is its plugin ecosystem. There are simply some really amazing plugins out there that are just not available in normal IDEs or simply not as good. One example of this would be Telescope. Telescope is what you see here. This is a fuzzy finder. Here I can fuzzy search my files. For example, let's find the init file. On the right hand side here, I have a preview of these files and I can scroll through it. I can check out the next files and then I can press enter to go to that specific file. And on top of the really nice UI, it can also search for other things. For example, I could find grep, and now I can find strings throughout my code base. So let's search, for example, for the init string, and now it gives me all the files that contain the word init. I can also do search help, for example, and search for documentation, or I can search through my Vim marks. I can also search through my open buffers and so many more things. It's a super powerful plugin, and I've not seen anything nearly as good in a VS Code extension, for example. There are also some other really nice workflows that I think you can only do like this inside of Vim. For example, let's go back to the predict dummy project. Let's say I want to refactor a bit. Maybe I want to rename this random model. But now this random model is mentioned in a couple of files. So I mention it here in the main.py file, also in the inference file. And if this was a larger project, then maybe it would occur in a lot of different locations. So let's open Telescope with grep and search for the random model. And now let's put these search results into a quick fix list. Now I want to cdo, so I apply a command to all of these. And let's say I want to search for random model and replace it with specific model. And I want to do this globally, and I want to confirm each time. So let's run this. I have random model. Let's press yes. Let's press yes. And also here I want to press yes. And just like that, it has been refactored across the whole code base. Now in this specific case, since this is all inside of Python files, I could have also just done a rename using the LSP and just changed it like this. I think this would have also been possible in VS Code. But let's say you have this model name across a whole bunch of files, like YAML files, maybe some JSON files, maybe some other config files, and you want to change it absolutely everywhere, then I don't think this is possible just using the LSP client. Alright, those were my top reasons why I personally prefer Neovim over VS Code with the Vim extension. But now let's also talk about why someone might not want to do this. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, while I do believe that Neovim is absolutely amazing and I love it and I will keep using it, I don't believe that this is for everyone. And the reason I think that this is not for everyone is because, first and foremost, you have to be a tinkerer by nature. If you don't like tinkering and configuring things at all, then this is not for you. Neovim will definitely have you fiddle a lot with your config, try things, and you have to like to customize and personalize your development environment. If you don't like spending time on this at all, then Neovim is definitely not for you. Another reason is that there's definitely a big upfront time investment that is needed. While you can just open VS Code or a JetBrains IDE and they will just work and all the features are there and they're stable, this is not really the case with Neovim. You need to learn a bit of Lua, you need to learn the different tools and plugins that are available, and this is definitely not for everyone. It takes time to learn these things, and it's okay if you have different priorities or you simply don't enjoy fiddling with your development environment. On top of the initial time investment, there's also some ongoing maintenance effort, because plugins keep changing, they keep getting updated, Neovim itself keeps getting updated, and this can lead to conflicts. It could be that one day you upgrade to a new Neovim version and your entire config breaks. This is something that happened to me a lot, it happened to a lot of people, and then you have to go and debug and find out what's wrong, and this is something you have to at least a little bit enjoy if you want to use Neovim. Now there are of course alternatives. You don't need to create your entire Neovim configuration completely from scratch. You can also use a distro like NVChat or AstroVim or LazyVim, which is really popular, and then you get a lot of IDE-like features out of the box, but still there will probably be at least a little bit of configuration involved. So if you just want to focus on coding and not worry about your development environment at all, you definitely get more stability from VSCode or from JetBrains. Stuff just works and you don't have to worry about breaking something. That said, in conclusion, do I think that Neovim makes you more productive on top of the productivity gains from Vim motions that you can also get in an IDE? I would say it definitely can, and this is because of the keyboard-centric workflow, which is definitely a little bit faster, and also you get exposed to a lot of new tools that can really take your workflow to the next level. So is this like a night and day difference? I don't think so. I think you get most of the benefits by using a Vim extension. Neovim can definitely help you be more productive and learn new things, and has a lot of other benefits that we talked about, like ergonomics, but you also have to like it a bit for the sake of it. At the end of the day, it really comes down to personal preference. I believe that in normal IDE you can also be really efficient and productive. It's just that Neovim really forces you to think about your workflow, and that, I believe, in a lot of cases, results in some really fast and efficient workflows. But what do you think? Do you agree with my points, or do you have a completely different perspective? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye.